everybody. Welcome here as we get set for NASCAR talk. Yes, it is back, ladies and gentlemen, and this is how it's going to go down for probably quite a number of weeks. Radio talk show style, and I am planning on putting it together as an opportunity for people to be able to join and everything as well, because I know that when we ended up having the live streams, it was actually really a lot of fun. And like to get other people's input as well, but we're going to have our first return episode, if you will, here. Me solo, behind the mic. And as we know, we're in the off season between the 2016-2017 season, which means hot stove time. Yep, we're going to be doing hot stove editions for leading up into February and the Sprint Unlimited, Can-Am Duels, Great American Race Daytona 500 in what could be the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series. Now that, as far as I know, is the leading candidate as far as the sponsor change, since Sprint said it will not be returning to sponsor the main series in 2017. So, you know, it kind of sounds like a NR 2003 offline series name to me, but that could be very interesting. So we're going to cover a number of top stories of the hot stove news going on here that have been happening not only this week, and there's actually been a couple that have happened in the last 24 hours, but also earlier on, even during the 2016 season, a lot of announcements were made. So let's get right into it. Of course, the biggest one would have to be, of course, Eric Jones, who was in the hunt for the Xfinity Championship this year, was not able to cash in. It was his teammate from Joe Gibbs Racing, Daniel Suarez, who at this point will still be in the Xfinity Series. It's Eric Jones that'll be moving up. And he'll be moving up to the number 77 out of Furniture Row Racing, which we all basically saw coming. We all saw that was going to happen. There was actually some rumors that I think it was Kenseth was going to move over to Furniture Row Racing, and then the 20 would be Eric Jones. That didn't really seem like that would make much sense. Basically with the reasoning that Matt Kenseth and the 20 team, they've been together for how many years now? And you take and you move him out into a new team, you might not get the consistency, and it might be a bumpy start to the 2017 season. So I think this was the right choice. Move him to Furniture Row Racing. We already know that Furniture Row Racing is getting a lot of Joe Gibbs support. Martin Truex Jr. has been obviously an example of that. So you know what? Move him to a, quote, satellite Joe Gibbs Racing team. Perfect choice. And so there you go. Eric Jones. How's he going to do in that 77 car is the question. A lot of times teams have tried to branch off from a single-car team to a two-car team, three-car team, and it doesn't seem to really work out for them. Case in point, Red Bull Racing. Remember back when they ended up trying to put together a two-car team with Brian Vickers and A.J. Allmendinger. Usually it was Vickers that had the better finishes. Yeah, Allmendinger had the odd good finish at Charlotte or something. But it always seemed like that second team didn't perform. Then they ended up doing it with Brian Vickers, Scott Speed. Vickers again seemed to be the stronger car. Scott Speed never seemed to be able to find any kind of luck in that second ride. So just case in point as far as that's concerned. However, I think this one may actually work out pretty well. A lot of people were impressed with how Chase Elliott made his debut here in 2016, what with the Hendrick support. I think that Joe Gibbs Racing has showed themselves as being able to figure out the latest aero package, being able to be competitive, obviously with having all 5 Toyotas of their stables, if you throw Martin Truex Jr. into the mix as well, making the chase for the championship. I think that's a huge thing right there, huge accomplishment, and I think that we're going to see a Chase Elliott-like debut year out of Eric Jones for 2017. Now, Eric Jones is going to be one of 3 confirmed challengers for Rookie of the Year honors this year. Another one's going to be Gray Galding. Galding going to the 30 car, and he drove that car for a couple of races in 2016. I think the 2 races were Martinsville and Homestead, if I remember correctly. So Curtis Key Motorsports going to be having Gray Galding, obviously running for Rookie of the Year, so it would make sense that he would be running full time in 2017. I believe that is a non-chartered ride that right now. However, there are a number of teams folding up, which we'll get more into depth to in probably an upcoming episode. They would include the 46 team, formerly driven by Michael Annett, the 15 car, formerly driven by Clint Boyer. Now that he's moving to Stewart Haas Racing, that team sounds like that they're folding up. Tommy Baldwin Racing is, as far as I know, folding up, but I think that 7 charter is going to Levine Family Racing. So, that's one ride, one charter they may not be able to get, but there is the possibility of either the 15 or the 46's charter from 2016. I've also heard that Premium Motorsports number 62 charter could also be up for grabs because I believe that charter was actually leased last year. Let me look real quickly and see. Yeah, it was actually leased to the 46 of H. Scott Motorsports. So I guess it's that same charter right there that I was mentioning. So still, like I said, it would be technically 2 charters possibly up for grabs. One of them could go to Curtis Key Motorsports for Gray Galding to make every race in his attempt for Rookie of the Year honors. So we got Eric Jones, we got Gray Galding. Obviously, we know Gray Galding will more than likely be able to bring sponsorship over to the team, probably in the form of Krispy Kreme, which has seemed to sponsor him for quite a long time. They sponsored him when he raced in Xfinity. They sponsored him in ARCA. So more than likely, Krispy Kreme's going to be on board that ride for a number of races, and so they'll be able to get at least somewhat decent sponsorship as far as that's concerned. Do not be surprised if you see that be a thing in the upcoming future. We also have rumors as far as their charter situation that they could merge with a team that has a charter, like Go Fast Racing's team. And the reason why that's brought up is because the 2 teams that had the lowest finish for chartered rides were, in fact, the 32 team of Go Fast Racing. They were the lowest full-time team, but they were planning on coming back next season with sponsorship full-time. Sorry for my dogs barking. And the other team was obviously the 62 of Premium Motorsports, which that was obviously because of the finishes of the 46 of Michael Annett, the team that leased that charter. So would they merge? I don't know. Go Fast Racing was Ford's, and Curtis Key Plumbing was Chevrolet's. So I don't know if a merge would actually benefit them or not. I think they'd be smart probably to just try and go out and get one of the charters from the closing up H. Scott Motorsports, to be honest, or one of them, and then get the one from Premium Motorsports, which I guess is going to get the charter back. I don't know, from Michael Annett's team. Final driver, and this was just announced, I believe, officially announced just a couple hours ago, prior to this episode of NASCAR Talk Hot Stove, and it's going to be Ty Dillon. And while it was basically a rumor, a lot of people really thought there was a lot of merit to this, and I was included in this, so not really that much of a surprise. Ty Dillon will actually be moving into the number 13 of Germain Racing, replacing Casey Mears. Now, there's a lot of shuffling that's going on here, but not really that much of a surprise. People are thinking, well, what's going to happen to Casey Mears? Well, there's actually been a lot of talk that he still is going to be in an RCR-supported ride. Let's keep in mind that Richard Childress Racing not only has their rides with Austin Dillon, Paul Menard, and I just lost. I thought they had another one. Maybe they didn't. I'm forgetting. But regardless, they do have another, and I can't think of who it is. Wow. Good job, me. Anyway, I'll possibly think of it as I look down through the list. But you've got those rides for Richard Childress Racing. You've got Levine Family Racing, which got support out of Richard Childress Racing, as did Circle Sport, because they were kind of merged with Levine Family Racing. And then Germain Racing also ended up getting a lot of support from, it was Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman was the other RCR car. I wonder why I couldn't think of that. You also had Germain Racing getting help from Richard Childress Racing. Now, here's how this goes down. Ty Dillon moving up to the Cup Series. It would be full-time because the 13 car is chartered. So Ty Dillon in the 13. Where does Casey Mears go? Now, the rumor has been that he would move to the 95 for Levine Family Racing, still getting Richard Childress Racing support. And the 95 car was a chartered machine, I believe. Well, actually, I don't think it was. Yeah, it was a chartered machine. Okay, so it was a chartered machine. However, now I'm hearing that Casey Mears would actually go to the 33. Now, with this being said, people are thinking, oh, but wouldn't that mean he wouldn't get a charter? And who would be in the 95? This is how I see this outlook coming for the whole Richard Childress stable. You're going to have Austin Dillon in 3. You're going to have Paul Menard in the 27. You're going to have Ryan Newman in 31. All of them are still going to be staying where they are. You're going to be having Ty Dillon moving up to the number 13 for Germain Racing, still under Richard Childress Racing support. And you're going to have Levine Family Racing Circle Sport coming with a 2-car team next season. I mean, let's face it, Michael McDowell and Levine Family Racing had maybe one of their best seasons this past 2016. I think you're going to see Michael McDowell. He's going to come back. He's going to drive the 95. That ride is still chartered. He's going to be bringing back the sponsorship of Thrivent, K-Love, so they're still going to have sponsorship there. Casey Mears, I think, is going to move to the 33, but he also will be a chartered ride because Tommy Baldwin Racing has sold their charter to Levine Family Racing. Now, they sold it to the 95, but the 95's already got a charter, so my assumption is they're going to have the charter that they sold, that they got from Tommy Baldwin Racing, or they're going to take the charter from the 95 that they currently have, put it with the 33. So as far as I know, those drivers of the 95 and the 33 will have charters next season. And my guess is it's going to be Casey Mears in the 33 and Michael McDowell in the 95. If Casey Mears does not get a charter, I believe it would be the first time that he would be in jeopardy of being in the go or go home situation since, boy, what year was that? Oh, man. Let me look real quickly here. See if my guys can come up with the answer for that. It was that Keyed Up Motorsports team, from what I remember, of Raymond Key. And it was 2010? 2010, yeah, that's when it was. So, 2010 would be the first time since then where he'd be in danger of missing a race. As I recall, he ended up missing out on a number of races that year with the 90 car. So, that's how I see the whole outlook of Richard Childress Racing looking like. I think that they're theoretically going to have, for their drivers next season, including satellite teams, I think they're going to have Austin Dillon in the 3, Paul Menard in the 27, Ryan Newman in the 31, Casey Mears in the 33, Michael McDowell in the 95 or 59, whichever they decide to do, and Ty Dillon in the 13. And I think that's what it's going to be for the Richard Childress rides. Let's cover one more quick little thing here before we go to commercial. And that is the announcement that a lot of people were wondering, what about Front Row Motorsports? We don't have any news of Castle coming back. We don't have news of what's going to happen with David Reagan. David Gilliland raced a couple of races for them this season. What's the story with him? Well, as far as we know, there's only one driver that is coming back to Front Row Motorsports, and this was announced 2 days ago, that Landon Castle will be coming back to Front Row Motorsports. Now, while I think that Landon Castle has talent enough to maybe be in a better ride, a big ongoing thing that was going on in previous NASCAR talks was there's not a whole lot of room up at the Cup level for the young talent to be able to get their way in. Now, obviously, with Tony Stewart retiring, with Clint Boyer moving to his ride, there's a little bit more opportunity, a little bit more room being made, but there's always somebody to fill in that spot. Stewart's retiring, okay, then you bring in Clint Boyer to replace him. The charter that Clint Boyer had is going to go away. It's more than likely going to go to a team possibly like Curtis Key, you know, that kind of stuff is, the possibilities. I actually also was trying to remember. I thought the 77 of Eric Jones was chartered. I'm getting off track here, but no, they're saying he is non-chartered. So that's another team that's actually going to be looking to try and get one of the H. Scott's Motorsports charters. I was just thinking about that, and that is the case. Um, so for Landon Castle signing again with Front Row Motorsports, I think this is a good choice. Um, because equally as difficult to find a spot in the Cup Series, it's now getting equally difficult to find a spot in the Xfinity Series. I mean, look at Junior Motorsports. They've now got Michael Annett, who's moved from Sprint Cup, well, formerly Sprint Cup, will not be Sprint Cup in 2017, down to Xfinity Series. You've got William Byron, who's moving up to Xfinity Series. So, the space in the Xfinity Series area is also seeming to close up. You got Elliott Sadler there as well. Still no word really on what the 88 team's going to be, unless it's going to be a spot for Cup drivers to move down again, probably like Junior, Kyle Larson, Casey Kane, Kevin Harvick, that sort of thing. I honestly think they should give it full time to Alex Bowman, but that's another story for another episode. And then you got some more space from Brian Scott leaving and retiring from the 44 for Richard Petty Motorsports. We'll be getting into that for possible candidates in the next episode as well, so you'll want to tune in for that. But Landon Castle signing back to Front Row Motorsports, I have a feeling you may see David Reagan sign back. However, spoiler, I think he also could be a candidate of moving into that number 44 car. So that is the possibility as well. So that's what we're going to have for our first little scene episode here of NASCAR Talk Hot Stove. On the next episode, we're going to be talking about possible candidates for that number 44 team. Where's Greg Biffle going to be going for 2017, or is it time for him to hang up the boots? And last but not least, we're going to be definitely touching on who could be some of the important moves for the 2017 season, both in Cup Series and Xfinity Series. Those are going to be some important things that we're going to be talking about. We're also going to go down the possible free agent list, full-time free agent list from 2016 heading to 2017, where these drivers could end up. Will they even have rides in 2017? So, hopefully you tune in for the next episode of NASCAR Talk Hot Stove. I may have some guests with me. We'll find out. But anyway, we'll see you guys on the next episode of NASCAR Talk Hot Stove, and we'll see you very soon.